Welcome back to another episode of Voices Unveiled. Today's guest is a very dedicated civil servant and fitness enthusiast, a husband, a father, and an administrator working at the grassroots level, currently serving as the subdivisional officer of Tousem. Please join me in welcoming Sir Paul Nangsha. And Sir, welcome to Voices Unveiled. We are so privileged to have you on our interaction, and I believe that our interaction will inspire our audience, especially our younger generation. So to begin with our interaction, if you could kindly introduce yourself in a little detail so that we can know more about you.
My name is Paul Nangsha. I belong to Manipur community. I'm from Chandel district. Now it's called, now after bifurcation, it's under Tamenglong district. So most of our Marine community are confined to Tamenglong district. And my father, he's a government teacher. And my mother is a simple housewife. And then we are 9 in the family. I have 4 sisters and 2 younger brothers. I'm the eldest, in fact, in the family.
Oh.
And I should say that this is kind of a first time for me to be facing the camera.
Okay.
Actually, I'm more kind of a guy who is more active behind the camera. Okay, so there might be a lot of mistakes, but I hope the viewers understand, and yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much for your introduction. Actually, a very humble introduction by an SDO. Thank you so much for that. And Sir have been serving for almost 11 years into this service. But we also want to go back and know, why do you pursue civil servant at the first place?
Actually, I was inspired by my dad to be in civil service. When I was young, especially when I was in school, he used to tell me that he wants to see me as DC someday in future. That was one thing. And another thing is, he was appointed as a teacher by a certain DC during his time. I think if I remember, the name of that DC was Laringa. When he was the DC Sandel.
Okay.
At that time, my father got appointed by him, and from there, he had so high, regard for civil servants, I should say, to people, particularly DC. For him, though, he knows DC.
Yes.
So there was one thing. He used to always inspire me. So early into my years, I began to be introduced to civil service. And then, as from my personal perspective, I want to be in civil service because civil service gives a diverse playing field where you can do a lot for people as a civil servant on different capacity and on a different role. And I always believe that I'm born to serve people. So that's what inspires me to pursue this career in civil service.
Okay. We also want to know, you have been serving for more than decades now, but we also want to know, how was your approach while preparing for the competitive exam? Like, did you strictly go to the civil service exam, or you also appear as others exam and all? We just want to hear some of your approach.
Actually, this is a tricky question, one, because I didn't appear any other exam.
Okay.
I think this is the only exam I appeared. See, it was kind of the single-minded approach from my side.
Okay.
And the only exam I prepared was UPSC exam and state PCS. And unfortunately, I did not write any other exam.
Okay.
But maybe I don't have plan B also. But sometimes I used to wonder, like, what would happen to me if I had not cleared this exam?
Yes.
But anyway, by God's grace, I'm able to get into this service, and here I am.
Yes.
Right now, due to God's blessing, I should say.
Thank you, sir. So, how many attempts did you give in these exams? Like, we just want to know.
You mean for UPSC or MPSC exam?
Both, like before you secure this position.
Actually, for UPSC exam, like I think I gave around 4 attempts. I could not make it. So there was MPSC exam conducted in 2014. So that's where I realized that I have to do something.
Okay.
If not UPSC, I think I should get into state service at least.
Okay.
So that I can, make my dream come true in serving public service.
Yes.
Maybe lower than the UPSC itself, because IS 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 after all. But anyway, state service is also, I should say, very good for me.
Yes. So MPSC, like it was your first attempt.
Yeah, in MPSC, I cleared in 1 attempt. Yes.
Okay. So like it just take a few minutes to say that you attempt 4 times, but it was like 4 years of studying for just 1 exam. So it must be a tough journey. But we are so glad, and I believe that it will also inspire other aspirants who have been continuously preparing for this exam. And thank you for sharing that, sir. And MPSC, even MPSC, like for sir, it may be a little lower, but for us, even to approach an SDO for an interaction, it's a huge thing. So you can imagine how being an SDO could be. So we would also like to congratulate you, and for not just living your dreams, but for also inspiring our younger people so that they can also pursue, irrespective of any field that they are pursuing. So sir have said that it took 4 years, almost 5 years to be on this position. So before that, during those 4 years, like how do you get motivated when you could not clear after preparing for quite some time? I just want to know your motivation.
I should say that failure teaches us many things. During those 4 years of my UPSC preparation, I should say it was pretty tough. I started preparing UPSC after my graduation, and then the first attempt I made was without coaching, so I didn't clear it. And then in the second year, I started to consult with some of my seniors who were already into this preparation at that time. So I talked to them, and then they suggested me for coaching. There was a time then I realized that I should do some coaching, and I enrolled myself in ALS coaching center. It was in Wolftrovertnaga, Delhi. And at that time, was staying in Gandhi Vihar in a rented accommodation. And from there, I started preparing seriously. I should say the first attempt was not that serious. But after that, though, I gave my best, in fact. So I cleared my prelims in the second attempt. And I could not make it to the mains. In the mains attempt, I got stuck. The same happened in the third attempt also. In the fourth attempt, like I thought I would make it. So I tried my best, and then unfortunately I did not reach the cutoff mark. I missed out by just 50 marks at that time. So my parents, they also started putting some pressure, saying that, son, you have been preparing for UPSC for last 4 years. So why didn't you give state service also? I said, when is the state service exam, state service exam? And my dad, who is very much keen into this kind of thing, he told me that I think there will be recruitment very soon. So you should give a shot at state service. So from there onward, I also started thinking of the state service also, because how long can you expect your family to support you? I've stayed, see, my schooling, I did in Manipur till 10th. After that, I went to Delhi. I did my 10+2 there, graduation also there. So it was a very long time that my parents supported me with whatever they have. In fact, we are not from a very well-to-do family also. There's just, I should say, enough to feed our family. So, and one thing I realized is that I cannot be the only person in a family to consume the whole financial income of my family. I have to think of my siblings also who were studying. So I thought state service is one that I should give a try. From that time onward, I started preparing for state service also. And unfortunately, the state service, this came, exams, PCS in 2014. And then I gave that exam. And in that exam, and then I got through that. And now I'm here.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. And I believe it's not about, sometimes it's not about the potential also. Sometimes it's about calling in different paths. But at the end of the day, it's almost the same, the way you serve the people, right? Even if it's IAS or UPSC or MPSC. So
True.
Thank you for sharing that. But sir, if you could also share that through your failures, it might sound tough. I couldn't think of any other words, but through your failures, if you could pick out some of your mistakes while preparing, so that the people, our aspirant, would not repeat it again. At least 1, 2.
I think I was more into collecting materials than focusing on studies. Initially.
Okay.
So they call it book hoarding, collecting all the materials.
Okay.
More into collection than rather than the studying. Then something like not very consistent in the effort. Of course, I was serious, but sometimes, you get demotivated once you see the result that you didn't clear the prelims or mains exam. Then you started to drift apart a little after that. But one thing which always reminds me is that life is not easy. This failure teaches us that life is not easy, and you have to constantly keep on fighting for your place in this world. There's nobody is going to come and help you.
Yes.
You have to help yourself ultimately.
Okay.
So that is what I should say. Of course, failure is part of the whole process. Learning also, I should say.
Yes. It's a learning. It's just that during that time, it was not that we can't see the silver lining of what we are learning back then.
Actually, failure teaches us to, clearly see our mistakes, what mistakes we have made also. And then to focus on our strength, what things you can do to improve yourself. So it's about constantly improving ourselves every day, I should say.
Okay.
And our effort should be consistent. One day you studied for 10 hours, 12 hours, and the next day you study only for 2-3 hours. That means this kind of thing is something which is not helpful, I should say, in an exam like this. In fact, UPSC is the toughest, considered the toughest exam in India. So with this approach, I think we will not be very helpful. So consistent hard work and our effort should be very, very, consistent and discipline also.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for saying that, sir. So let's get to the interesting part that's behind the exam one. So as you have said that our parents want our child to be the deputy commissioner and all these things. Of course, because of the work and the opportunity and the privilege to serve the people, but also even our parents who are illiterate, they want them to see in administration. Like when we were young, when we were a child, what we see as DC is not what the work that they do, but how it will just come in a nice car with bodyguards and all those things, right? Those were all the inspiration. And also your father has that great expectations of you serving in public service. And finally, after all your struggles, you have finally cleared and joined the service back in 2015, right? 15?
I joined the service in 2015.
15.
But we are 2014 batch.
Okay. So what were like how it's like your expectation versus reality when you finally enter into the service?
Expectation and this reality is something which is very vague, I should say. I don't come with much expectation.
Okay.
I just thought that since I cleared this exam, my duty is to serve the people. That is like something I always believe. And of course, there are things which you really want to do, but you are helpless in certain situations. So I think it's fine. I mean, like expectation and reality, these things are, the line is very thin, I should say.
Okay.
Once you know the purpose of you being in the service.
Okay. Thank you. Through your answer, we can also now know how humble you are, like not the glam side of the service. And as you have also just touched the point that my next question, the question that I want to ask next would be, as people have a lot of expectations on you being serving as their subdivisional officer, especially of Tousem in particular. We know the road conditions. Like when we talk about Tousem, there are so many good things, but what we remember is the road condition first of all. So with all those things, people have a lot of expectations, but as you have mentioned that there are also limitations from the government or from anything. So how do you balance that with public expectation and the limited resources that you have?
This is a tough one.
Okay.
Actually, Tousem is, a kind of a place where most of our friends, and our civil servants, especially our state service, MCS, they used to say that being posted in Tousem is a punishment.
Okay.
So, because it is too remote and there is no road, connectivity is so poor that the people, imagine the people living in that interior area.
Yes.
See how difficult their life would have been. So, what we can actually see is this: how we can bring the road for the people. That has been the first thought which comes to my mind when I was posted here. During my initial years, I was also quite, I should say, frustrated because of the road condition and the remoteness of the place. And especially in rainy season,
Yes.
it was, something unthinkable
Mm-mm.
for a person coming from, say, valley, particularly.
Yes.
But the longer you stay, you begin to realize that you are selected in this service not to just serve in the valley or to be posted in the secretariat, but to serve the farthest area of the state also, region of the state also. That's why Sir Armstrong, I should say, my former DC,
Yes.
in 2019, that when he was posted at that time, I also got posted.
Okay.
And then we used to only discuss about road for Tousem.
Yes.
What can we do? Paul, he'll say, what can we do for Tousem? Since we all know that road is the main problem, see, people not have seen blacktop in their entire life, except for the stretch of this Tamenglong Jiribang road, that it touches some portion of Tousem, some few villages, but more all the other areas of Tousem, they are not connected with any blacktop road.
Okay.
Till recently. So recently, this story it will come.
Okay.
When Sir Armstrong was DC at that time, so he started thinking out of the box, I should say, how to bring road in Tousem area. So you must be aware of this Tamenglong Mahu Road, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was the brainchild of Sir Armstrong Panmei, who was the deputy commissioner at that time. He being from Tousem also, like he was very, very enthusiastic about this project. So we'll talk about it later. But as of now, road connectivity is the main problem, I should say, for Tousem subdivision.
Okay. Yeah. So it must be tough for everyone, even in administration also, because we know the problems, but it cannot be easily rectified and done. But I believe that slowly it has been coming, and we will experience a wonderful road in every corner of Manipur also. I'll just add in that way. And okay. So as Sir has mentioned that somehow it was like a punishment for an officer to be posted in those remote area. But Sir has been serving for almost 5 years now. So I think you must have already loving the place, and you must have also a lot of experience with our people, especially from Tousem and all. So if you could kindly share any experience, a wonderful experience with the people, yeah. Good, funny, anything.
I have so many good memories. I don't know one, but I know many.
Okay.
Because, like Tousem and Tamenglong district is more like a second home for me now.
Okay.
Since I'm already posted here for the last more than 5 years, I should say. Into coming October, it would complete 6 years.
Okay.
So I'm one of the longest serving SDO. They say that I'm the longest serving
Okay.
of Tousem so far. And that is something I cherish also, I should say. Because when nobody wants to get posted in such remote places, and I'm able to achieve that feat, and that makes me, proud also, I should say, that I did it. But it's not about that. The people of Tousem, they're, very good, I should say. They're kind. In fact, they are very hardworking also. And Tousem has, diverse people inside. Tousem as a subdivision is just like a mini district in itself, where you have the Rongmai community, the Jemai, the Lengmais, and Cookies. At the same time, we have two Khasi villages also.
Okay.
So Tousem is the only place where you can find 2 Khasi
Okay.
villages in Manipur.
Oh, okay. It's my first
So-
time hearing that.
This is a very diverse subdivision. So as an administrative head and executive head of a subdivision, working in this kind of subdivision is very challenging. And most of the memories are, good, I should say. It's, I think, something which I can always cherish in my life also. For example, sometimes when we don't have this, especially during rainy season, when the road is entirely cut off, we used to travel on foot also.
Okay.
We'll travel by vehicle where it takes, and from there on we'll travel by road, on foot.
Okay.
So working on foot experience is one thing which I can do cherish.
Okay.
Not many has the opportunity to do that.
Being a fitness enthusiast also.
And then this road construction going on right now that I had mentioned earlier also, Tamenglong Maho Road. This is something I will cherish in my life from Tousem. Because before there was no road. But now since this project has materialized and almost 80% of the work is complete.
Okay.
And see, this road has a direct link with Guwahati. See, Guwahati is the trade center, trade hub of Northeast. And from there, we are going to get directly connected. Passing in mainly through Tousem subdivision, directly from Assam, and then to the district headquarters. So, before people used to walk on foot, but now with the coming of this road, when I see them walking on, like traveling by vehicle on the blacktop road, it gives me immense, pride and pleasure. I should say that this is some memory that I will always cherish.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your experiences. And I believe that 5 years is a long years, and there must be a lot of fun and a good experiences. And last year, okay, when I did an interaction with one of my guests, he sent me again that in Tousem there the 2 grandma, a very old 2 grandma, were watching our interaction. So he was saying that it was reaching even the one of the far-flung place also. Even that gave me a pleasure. So being constructing a road, being a part of this administration, it's wonderful. And I believe that people will also remember you for the sacrifices that you have given for our people. Because that's, as you mentioned about walking and all, like that is not something that an officer would expect to do in their field. But thank you for taking all the trouble and serving our people. Road condition, it was connected with these road conditions issues also, but when it comes to healthcare, that people were even more emotional and attached to it. So I believe that there must also be lots of health issues and all, especially for women also in terms of their delivery and all. So any initiatives or anything that has been taken by the administration to give how do I say, better services for our people?
Yeah. Health sector is one huge challenge for Tousem because, as we all know, it again comes to road. So without connectivity, it's very difficult for medical team or a doctor or anyone to travel, especially in these days, I mean, in this 21st century. See, that is why we have stories of this sick people being carried on bamboo stretcher.
Yes.
About how villagers, they have to cross the rivers, mountains to reach a certain sub-center for this PHC, and then to sometimes even the district headquarters also. So at this kind of situation, government also cannot do much. As an administrative head of the subdivision, I tried my best. Sometimes I used to hire a vehicle for them also.
Oh.
Okay. And then send a medical team.
Mm-mm.
And then that medical team will be again stuck somewhere in the landslide.
Mm-mm.
And then I'll have to again call up the villagers, especially the village authorities, and request them to help them in clearing the landslide. And if JCB is available, then we do by JCB. But if not, they do it manually also.
Oh, yes.
But since hell is one thing which we cannot overlook, especially in remote places where medical facility is so pathetic, that is the least we can do. Like helping them, the medical teams, and doing whatever we can from our side. But the long-term solution, permanent solution would be to give a better road.
Better road, yes.
Then all your health facility, education facility, everything will start improving. Unfortunately, now we are having this Tamenglong Road once again. This is one National Highway 137 is also known as. This is going to be a huge game changer for Tousem.
Oh, okay.
And for Tamenglong also.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing that, sir. So, to know more better, or in a lighter note, we also want to know how is the life of an typical day of an SDO look like from waking up to how do you do? Just want to know.
I think as an SDO, there is no time to get boring.
Okay.
Because you are faced with a lot of pressure, challenges every day. Day to day, you get different complaints, different issues. Because as an SDO, you are in charge of many things, especially in the hill districts where they have combined SDO with BDO.
Oh, okay.
In the valley, BDO is separate and SDO is separate. So they have their own separate staff and manpower is also sufficient. But here in the valley, since revenue is not too so much functional, they club with this BDO also.
Okay.
So not only as a SDO revenue matter, you have to look into it, and then as a BDO, you have to take care of the welfare schemes, implementation, how smoothly it is going on, or is it going on within the stipulated time. Those challenges are there. At the same time, again, magistrate duty we have. We, as an SDO, we're empowered with magistrate. They call it SDM.
Okay.
So we're in charge of law and order. Again, in election, we are SDO is very much involved as a ERO or AERO, assistant, and the ERO means election registration officer, no? And AERO means assistant electoral registration officer. So we have diverse role. And then again, disaster management,
yes.
we're in charge of that again. And at last, public grievances, we have to redress. So at the grassroots level, we are trying to do our best. In fact, SDO is kind of a link between the district administration and the grassroots communities, where people come to us directly. They may not go to DC directly,
yes.
because DC is in the headquarters and we are somewhere in the subdivision. So we deal with the public directly. And then, in fact, DC, they consider the SDO as their pillar also, in one way.
Yes.
Because as long as the efficiency of the SDOs are there, DC's performance also improves. But without SDOs, even DC also cannot do much. That is why we are also known as the eyes and ears of DC also.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. With all the portfolios that you have mentioned, I would even forget my role.
So that is kind of about typical day of an SDO. So it's more like a pressure rather than boring.
Oh, okay. So it gave me more curiosity to know, being such busy is not the right term, but with so much of pressure and responsibility as an administrator, how do you stay committed to fitness? Like sir was known for fitness also, and even in my our social media also, people were commenting like, why don't you take interaction with Sir Paul? And if we do so, don't forget to ask about the fitness journey. So if you could kindly share.
This is one thing very, very challenging for me. In fact, like I always had a athletic body, I should say, since my school days. No?
Oh, okay.
I used to be more into sports. I love playing football, cricket, a lot of other sports also. So my fitness was not an issue from before. But after getting into this service, then I start neglecting the physical activity. I stopped playing football. I stopped playing any other outdoor activities. And then, I started gaining weight.
Okay.
And I gained weight so much that I couldn't realize that it was me also. From comparing to my college days and my life, no? When I was already an officer, my health started declining, I should say. I weighted, my height is just 5'3".
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
And my weight was 83.
Oh, I think our height must be same, but
So I was very fat, and then it affects my performance also.
Yes.
Physically, I was very tired walking, and then I started to realize I have to do something about this. And I said, nobody's going to come and help me. So I started to think about it seriously, and then I started joining the gym. And again, I'm very lucky to have our current DC, Dr. L. Nangsha, our Deputy Commissioner.
Yes.
Once he's posted here in Tamenglong, he's also a fitness enthusiast. So he was the first to go to the gym.
Okay.
And then he invited me. And then from then on, we started hitting off the gym frequently. And I started to feel better. And then slowly, I started to be losing weight, and my physical performance also improved. And then I feel fit, fine.
Yes.
And now I'm only 62 kg.
Oh, okay.
So ideal weight, I should say. Height and weight, as per this BMI, body mass index, I think I'm already in the ideal kind of situation.
Like losing more than 20 kg is like
It's a huge challenge.
Okay.
So that is why I think some of your friends must be suggesting, seeing how fat I was,
maybe.
and how I have transformed myself. And to do this, you really need strong determination and discipline also. Without these two, I think you can't do it.
Okay.
And I'm very fortunate to have some people supporting me in my journey of becoming fit.
Okay.
And our DC is one. And some of my close friends, gym mates, they constantly inspire me. And I'm very happy to have them as my friends also.
Okay. Being someone who doesn't often visit offices, like I haven't posted for 5 years now, but I haven't shown. And even if we have functions also, like we do, I think you must be, all those Republic Day, they must be doing in different place, not in Tamenglong. So maybe because of that, I heard about Sir, but I haven't met Sir. Like maybe this is our first time meeting in person, but I have shown, yes, first through the gym fitness fusion because we have interacted with them also, and through that we can share how the DC was doing this, SDO was doing this kind of thing. So thank you for bringing that inspiration. Also in that way, it also inspired our young people also. Talking about that, I think our fitness also really affect our professional work also. not just about being
True.
tired and all, but it also gave more confidence when you are being fit and all.
Very true.
Okay, thank you for sharing your fitness journey, and I believe that the viewers must also must be glad to finally hear from you. To proceed, I would also like to ask, like, this being a subdivisional officer, being the head of head in the administration is very prestigious, and everybody wants to be one of them. But with this prestige, it also comes with a responsibility, being posted far from home most of the time, being away from our families and all. So being a father, a husband, and a son, how do you balance this administration work? Like, how do you make up to them? Like, there must be a lot of uncertainties, canceling of plan and all. So how do you?
I think this is one thing which every civil servant, they have to make a sacrifice. About balancing, we try to our best to balance. See, my home is about from Tamenglong, it is around 200 kilometers far. And from Tamenglong again, Tousem is about 70 kilometers far.
Okay.
So see the distance, almost 300. So here balancing with my family life is something which is very, very difficult and impossible in one way. Because as soon as I take holiday, when I reach home, my holiday is over.
Yes.
So as a civil servant, I think every civil servant, they will have this same problem. This is something, some sacrifice that we have to make. It comes with the profession. So I should say that we try to communicate through, mostly through phone nowadays, through let's say video calls and this and that. But physically being present for them is something which is very, very difficult.
Okay.
So if I'm posted in my home town, home district, I may have the opportunity, privilege to interact with my family. But as of now, it's unthinkable.
Okay. I hope that day will also come when you grow a little older to be away from home. I think this is something our people, our public should also know the sacrifices behind this job. And that was your part. But we also know that behind every successful officer, we have a very supporting families. They have a great role in it. So if you could share some of the role that your family played so that you can perform well.
Yeah, actually, I'm very privileged and fortunate to have a very supportive family. They're very, very supportive. Even my siblings, my parents, both my mom and dad. I mean, whenever I go home, they used to say, since you have been selected to serve the state, we want you to give your best. And wherever you're posted, give your best and don't complain.
Okay.
Because they used to tell my mom, especially my mom, she used to tell me, I have given my son to serve the people. And she used to pray that also.
Okay.
Every morning at 4 a.m. before I got into service, she used to pray for me and for my entire family. That has been her routine till now. So because of a blessing, I think I got into this service, and because of God's blessing and His kindness, I am able to come to this stage. And my parents are my biggest supporter.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. And through this platform, we would like to thank our, at least say our gratitude especially first of all to your father for inspiring you to be serving in this position, and also to your mother for your prayer, and also your wife, your siblings, and everyone for all the support, and giving, like, instead of staying with them for sacrificing for our people. I cannot communicate properly now, but I really appreciate those sacrifices, and we really value that sacrifices that you have made for our people. Thank you, sir, for sharing that. ไม่เว้นบางเขาและบางคันที่ไทยแล้วนี้ตัวมิทุมีปุตงนี่นะไซต์วิดีโออินเทอร์แอคนะบ่มีบางให้ Elora's Heaven จะนะไซต์มีให้ชิงคิวลงเขาไว้มานี่ตรง All Market ดังรับเขาตักมาในตรงนี้มีให้ Homestay มากระปังก็สร้างต้นรอยนี่รูปเรียนใหม่คันนี้ตรง Visitors นั่นก็ไว้นะวงบางเรานะบางนุกไม่บางมีก็มาไซต์ตรงวิดีโอให้กันนี่นะกบำกายไม่ที่เรานะมีตัว interaction ให้ตัดไก่นะบ่มีตัวงี้ตรงแต่กันอยู่ตรง details นี่มาdescription เขา shares เราดับนี้เท่ากับไม่กงบำเรานี่ไม่คันนี้ any event ปะเรานี่ไม่ก็ไว้นะมีตรง space กายก็ไม่บำไว้เราหนูนี่จำแต่ก็ที่นะคะ shares เราตรงไงคนก็แค่ we are done with most of our questions, so I'll just want to have some quick rapid round that you will just have to answer whatever comes to your mind first. So books or YouTube for preparation?
Books.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
One word to describe Tousem.
Extraordinary.
Okay. Your message to the youth of Tamenglong.
My message for Tamenglong youths is that there is a quote by Mahatma Gandhi. It says, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in serving others.
Oh, okay.
So that's it.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So file work or field work?
Field work.
Toughest part of being an SDO?
Meeting timeline.
Oh, okay. Rule book or practical solution?
Practical solution.
Early decisions maker or careful planner?
Careful
Careful
planner.
planner, I know. Okay. One thing you wish the public to understood about administration?
Administration is something you should not be afraid of. As these officers are just like you. In fact, we are here to serve you. We are not, I should say, we are not the masters. In fact, we are the servants of people. Government has paid us to serve public. So it's basically a public service. So feel free to come to us, share your grievances.
Self-study or coaching?
Self-study.
Cardio or weights?
Weight.
Morning gym or evening gym?
Morning.
Favorite healthy meal?
Whole meal.
Okay.
Regular.
So what would be your cheat meal?
Cheat meal. Pork barbecue.
Okay. Fitness for looks or fitness for health?
Fitness for health.
Yeah. Strict father or friendly father to your daughter?
Friendly.
Okay.
I want to be friendly.
Family time or me time?
Family time.
Okay. One thing your wife reminds you to do often?
To pray.
Okay. One word your family would use to describe you?
Loving.
Okay. One hidden talent people don't know about?
Maybe dancing.
Oh really? Okay. So we are on this era of this FIFA World Cup. And sir have shared that you are also a football enthusiast. It must also be challenging balancing World Cup match and SDO work. So whom are you supporting this World Cup?
Always Messi.
Messi, okay.
Argentina.
All right, okay. Thank you. So our questions are being completed. Of course, we will have, if we have more time, we can also talk about a lot of other things also. But for today, this will be a conclusion. But before we conclude, if there is anything we'd like to give any closing remarks to our audience?
We should be authentic, real, and kind as a human, and respect one another.
Okay. Thank you so much for the strongest closing remark. And once again, thank you so much for being a part of this interaction series and for sharing your personal and professional journey. I believe that it will inspire a lot of our audience and also know you more better, not just as a big SEO, but as a person, a very humble officer in our town. And once again, thank you. And thank you everyone for being a part of our Voices Unveiled. And from here, we will conclude this episode. And we hope to meet you again in next episode. Thank you, everyone.
You are watching Voices Unveiled with Guikhan. Thank you.